Call to order the Lincoln City Urban Renewal Agency meeting of January 27th, 2018. Roll call, please.
Don Williams.
Here.
Dick Anderson.
Yes.
Riley Hoagland. He's called in and said that he'll be late. Deanna Hinton.
Here.
Judy Casper. Here. Susan Walke.
Here.
And Kip Ward.
Here.
Comments from citizens present. Is there anyone who has signed up to speak at this time? I don't think so. Okay. Next item on the agenda is minutes of the meeting of the Urban Renewal Agency's regular meeting on November 13th, 2017. Do I hear a motion for approval of those minutes?
I move to approve the regular minutes on November 13th, 2017.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the meeting minutes of November 13th, 2017. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next item on the agenda is election of the agency chair and vice chair. I would entertain nominations for chair at this time.
I'd like to nominate Deanna Hinton.
Second that?
I'll second it if you didn't just do that.
Moved it.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to nominate Riley Hoagland.
Madam Chair? Oh, we don't have a second to that, do we? I would second that, but I want to make my own nomination.
Okay, I guess that one
Did
died.
you-
So, go ahead.
Lack of a second.
Counselor Ward, did you second that?
I did,
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you did?
yes.
Oh, okay.
I said I also wanted to make a nomination.
Right.
I would like to nominate Judy Casper. If she's willing.
I'll second that, just to make things
There
confusing.
you go.
So we have three nominations, Judy Casper, Deanna Hinton, and Riley Hoagland.
Move to move the nominations closed.
Is there-
Second.
I
Okay,
Close-
it's been-
I
close the
would
nomination.
second that, but is there anyone else that would like to be considered that hasn't been asked?
Nominated everybody. Kathy.
What a truly qualified group we are then.
Do we need to do this by paper ballot, or?
Do we have a closed nominations?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Well, it was seconded. I don't think it was voted on,
Right.
though.
Right, it hasn't been voted on. We have a motion and a second to close nominations. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, nominations are closed.
so we don't have ballots. I think you could just go through and say all those in favor of nominee one, all those in favor of nominee two, all those in favor, and then
So, and then if there's no outright winner, could we then eliminate the lowest and move to the two? Would that be appropriate?
Okay. All those in favor of Deanna Hinton as chair? Let's see. Mr. Andrew, can you do a roll call for us? Sure.
I apologize. This is for Deanna.
Deanna.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Casper.
Yes.
Walke.
Yes.
Ward.
No.
Williams.
Yes.
Anderson.
No.
And Hinton.
Yes.
4-2.
So since we had a majority vote for Deanna, we don't need elections for the others?
you might want to just, for the record,
Okay. All those in favor of Riley Hoagland as chair of the Urban Renewal Agency for the calendar year 2018? Do you want to do a roll call for us?
Sure.
Thank you.
Hinton,
No.
Casper,
No.
Walke,
No.
Ward,
No, because he's not here.
Williams,
No.
and Anderson.
Yes.
Okay, so then we'll,
And all those in favor of electing Counselor Casper as Chair of the Urban Renewal Agency for the 2018 calendar year?
We vote twice.
Yes.
Hinton,
I can't vote twice. No.
That was a no.
no. Casper,
really
No.
I'm betting you get what vote.
Walke,
No.
Ward,
Yes.
Williams,
No.
Anderson.
No.
This is
That
this
was
is why we narrow it down with the ballots.
Okay. So Counselor Hinton, congratulations, and pass the gavel to you.
Okay. I'll need some help. Okay. I'd like to open the nominations
Oh,
for,
I'm sorry. Did we actually have the vote on, nominations were all done, but,
Final vote.
actually, the vote was to appoint. Yeah, the vote was to
Was to
appoint.
appoint? Okay,
Yes.
all right, we just did it differently.
Sorry.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
that gavel back.
All right. Gotta roll up my sleeves. Watch out, everybody. Okay, I would like to hear nominations for vice chair.
Madam Chair, I'd nominate Riley Hoagland for Vice Chair.
Is there a second?
I'll second it, just for,
Madam Chair, I'd like to nominate Judy Casper for the position of Vice Chair.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
I'll second.
Could only second one.
There's an echo.
Oh. Okay, are there any other nominations?
Move to close the nominations.
Second?
Okay, let's do a roll call.
No, motion, second.
All those in
Discussion.
favor
Oh,
of,
Motion to second
Closing.
discussion.
Okay, motion, and we have a second, and then we have discussion.
Vote on-
To close the nominations.
Hearing none, thank you.
Not as easy as it looks.
I know. Okay, so now,
Now we
now we,
need to vote on closing the nominations.
I'd like to hear a motion to close the nominations.
That's what I made.
We did.
And that's what we got a second, so we just need to vote on that
All
nomination.
right,
All those
all
in
in favor of closing the nominations?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Okay, unanimous. Okay, hearing that, motion carries. I need some language, somebody?
We'll help you.
I'll get it, but I don't want to stumble. Okay, and so now we have two people who have been nominated for vice chair, and we need to vote on those. So Kathy, could I ask you to help with roll call, please?
so you want to, somebody make a motion for the first nominee and see how that goes, and then somebody make a motion on the second.
Weren't they already nominated, though?
They're nominated, but make a motion to appoint.
Okay,
I move to appoint Judy Casper as Vice Chair of the Urban Renewal Agency for the
Second that.
2018 calendar year.
Second that.
okay. Is there another, or do we just vote on that
Roll
one?
call.
Roll call.
No,
Motion?
second discussion.
Okay. Is there discussion? Hearing none? Roll call, please.
Walke,
Yes.
Ward,
yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Anderson,
No?
Hinton,
Yes,
and Casper.
Yes.
Motion carries.
thank you.
And
Okay.
if you just want to do Riley, then
I make a motion to nominate Riley.
Second it.
Okay, it was moved and seconded. Any discussion? None? Hearing none? Roll call, please.
Ward,
No.
Williams,
No.
Anderson.
Yep.
Hinton,
No.
Casper,
No.
and Walke.
No.
Motion fails.
Okay, moving on to agenda item G3, which is our property development offering.
Congratulations.
Allison, thank you.
Good evening, Chair Hinton and agency members. So I brought with me our development consultant, John Southgate, who you met at one of our last meetings. And we don't have a formal presentation, but just wanted to be here to answer any questions you might have on process or content of the document. This is our property development offering, otherwise known as a request for expressions of interest for 8 properties, 4 of which are urban renewal, which is why we're here before you this evening, and why we will be also on your agenda for city council meeting to basically just hear any questions and be ready to make any needed changes before we plan to release the document on February 1st.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I have several items. Most of them are just typographical, I guess. On page 1-2, the first paragraph has no punctuation at the end of that paragraph.
Okay.
On the next page, there's a graph that says 2017 car count data. At the bottom of that graph, the labels on the columns have a .00, and I think it would be easier to read if those decimal points were out. On 2.2, the paragraph that starts Urban Renewal Toolkit refers to the T&D building, and some of us know what the T&D building is, but it's identified as the Southwest 4th Street property. I think that's the description should be there.
Thank you.
On 3.1, my question is the school district property, the property that the school district just purchased, is that in the city or the county? I believe it's county currently. And this says North Lincoln City, the very last sentence on that paragraph. I think it should say North Lincoln County for a new school.
Great.
On 3.3, the paragraph on apartment rent, that last paragraph, I'm wondering if that's up to date. I think we've had more apartment complexes since this description.
This information, I believe, is from the housing needs analysis, which is, the actual information probably is a little bit dated. We should probably at least clarify.
Probably went as of a certain date, yeah. On 4.2, the location paragraph. I thought that sentence was a little awkward. A 450-acre property, the city acquired 363 acres in 2013. A 450-acre property of which the city acquired, maybe? 4.4. I'm wondering, location of that photo, is that relative to Northeast 25th at all?
No, that's a general photo of housing in Lincoln City.
Okay, I think somewhere on 4.4 or 4.5, we should have a photo of that general area. And the same thing on 4.7. If we could have, it's a beautiful picture. But I think on one of those pages, there should be something near Northeast Reef.
Yeah, part of the issue was how do we offer a photograph of undeveloped property? It'll just look like an open space. And, you know, we could provide photos. You know, some of the properties have, the one, I think actually it's this one, Northeast Reef, has some existing driveways that have a little bit of curb by the driveways, but I just don't know if people would understand what that is that they're looking at in the photo. And
Yeah.
I appreciate your feedback, and I have heard from a couple of you about what types of photos would be best for each of the properties. So we'll take a better look at those photos.
Madam Chair,
I've
could I,
got-
on that, just
Uh-huh,
a
sure.
suggestion might
Sure.
be, you know, it seems to me when we've looked at these properties or Google Map or something, what I would want to see or show is, you know, the proximity to the parks. And so maybe it's a plat, you know, from a plat map where we've lined out, and I'm trying to remember what issues we were dealing with where that has come up, whether it was the Episcopal Church signage issue. But it seems to me there's some maps, photos somewhere that would show that proximity. And I think that would be representative to a potential developer where it sits in the city or something. Because your dilemma is correct. What are you going to do? Take a photo of the street going up to the property and so more of an overhead. But I know and I was looking over the weekend too, trying to find it. Sorry.
No, you're fine. On 4.12, at the end of the description paragraph, it refers to section Roman numeral 2, and I think that should be in Arabic number 2. And on the constraints paragraph, right after constraints, it's a lowercase there, should be a capital T for there. And I thought that read a little awkward. We'll probably need a new roof, possibly new siding, instead of possible new siding. I don't know. It just read awkwardly to me. On 4.14 or 15, I'm wondering if we have any drawings of that Nelscott Village Center project to put in there. There is that great intersection picture. And I do love Joe the Sea Lion. Yeah. Since it refers to that concept, if we have some sort of sketch, I think that would be helpful.
That's when Joe had whiskers.
Yeah, really. On 4.16 and 17, I'm wondering if we could include a photo of the covered picnic area, because that's kind of discussed in there a couple times. Though I do love those pictures of Taft, of Celeste Bay. Just a couple more. 5.2, we've got a Roman numeral again instead of Arabic number. The last paragraph, it refers to section 7, general conditions, and general conditions is on page 5.6. So I don't know where that section 7 came from. On page 5.3, the very last sentence says may decide not pursue, probably not to or to not. pursue. And page 5-6, paragraph 6. The second sentence starts with they, and everywhere else it's you. You're referring to the teams, and I think it should be you are also encouraged. And finally, on page 5-8, the proprietary information paragraph. It says, in the nature of legitimate trade secrets of non-published financial data. I wasn't sure if that should be of or.
Great.
Thank you.
Anyone else have comments?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just briefly, 3.1, you said we're going to build a new police station. Have we agreed to that yet? Do we have that in writing?
That was my understanding.
Okay, I thought we were still discussing the details and how to finance it and all that.
But yes, it was my understanding that
That's something
we were making an investment. I don't know how that investment will be made, but yeah.
It's a done deal yet, so
Would you prefer I
Whether we-
remove that?
I'm just throwing it out there for
Okay.
consideration. That
Okay.
maybe advertising something we don't have.
Could we get some clarification from the chief?
It was my understanding that the police building project was approved. We're still entering the design phase, how much money we're going to spend in it, but the project concept itself was approved, is my understanding.
That's what I understand, too.
Okay, I just want to be upfront with everybody that we offer this to. So if you're good, I'm good.
And are you finished?
Yes, thank you.
Any other comments? I had several, which I've emailed to you.
Thank you.
So I don't know that we'll take the time here, but you have my comments. Okay, do you have more of a presentation for us or more discussion that you would like to have with us? This is just letting us know that you're going forward with this and the time schedule and.
Yes, and we'll be marketing this as broadly as we can. So, we just wanted to make sure that, you're comfortable with the process and before we launch and start really trying to attract some quality developers.
If I could ask you, how's it going out there, Mr. Southgate? Do you think that you'll get some good?
Yes, one of the things that Allison and I have discussed several times is that you don't want to do a development offering unless you know that you have interested developers who understand what you're trying to do and have the capacity to deliver on that. And I'm very confident that we have that. We've talked with, I'd say, 10 or 12 qualified developers, both local and from outside the immediate area. And so I'm very confident that you're going to get great responses on hopefully most, if not all, these properties. The other thing I wanted to say is we talked with a developer earlier today, and what she said really stuck with me, that by doing these 8 properties together, it's really going to, I think it's going to create quite a bang. And, if you just did one modest little property, that's just probably a fairly simple little real estate transaction. By having, I think part of the reason you have a lot of developer interest is you have all these properties. And I really think that in the future years, you can look back at this and say, 2018 is when we did that development offering, and it attracted so much interest. I think this is going to be a really important event in the life of the city. And I hope I'm not being overly optimistic, but I don't think I am. I'm working in other cities, almost without exception, they only have one property. Sometimes that can make a real change in their downtown. Well, you have 8 properties, so you deserve to be excited about what I think is in the wings.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. I just have one question about your schedule. It seems from this point forward, it's really fast, and you're pretty sure you'll get some comments in that time frame.
Yeah, we've
Okay.
we've been asking, what's reasonable to expect. This isn't an RFP where we're expecting people to submit full architectural renderings with pro formas and bids about, what their expectations are. That's later. This is really just determining what is the market interested in terms of these 8 properties. So, yeah.
Excellent.
And we've, this will go out to a larger list of developers, but we have been talking to a number of developers, including from before I got involved. Allison's been talking to some of these developers, so it's not like they're going to find out about it on February 2nd. And the time period, I think it's 6 weeks. That's actually longer than my average, probably. I usually do it about a month, so I believe that'll be ample time.
And I think part of that is because the housing, we started out with the 4 urban renewal properties and then decided, hey, we're doing this process. We should also look to the city properties so that they got folded in. But when it comes to, we thought we were just doing commercial mixed use, which could incorporate housing, but to actually have housing or residential specific properties, we were hearing that they needed a little bit longer time period than just the 4 weeks. So we're kind of having a wider net that we're putting out, so.
If I could, the possible public assistance, are these programs offered to anybody, or is it just for the people who are going to be buying these properties? And I'm thinking in particular about the vertical housing tax abatement. Are we making these more desirable than privately held properties?
Well, so on the vertical housing, it's really up to you. So if you decide in response, if someone responds to this and says, that's a tool that will really help make my wonderful project feasible, and you agree, you have to make that determination with our advice. You have the option of either creating it for that specific site and doing it on a site-specific basis, or you could create an entire district. There's nothing in the law, and I don't think anything's implied here, that would limit it exclusively to these properties. If someone who owned a different site in private hands and met the requirements of the state legislation for vertical housing, there's nothing that would preclude them coming to you and asking for the same tool. And again, it's your prerogative to determine if it's merited. So you always get the final say, but these tools, I think, in general, are not limited to the sites that you own.
Okay, so none of these are strictly tied to these properties.
Except for
It could be available to anybody.
A land discount, that you alone control. So you obviously can't control a land discount on privately held property.
Okay. Appreciate that, thank you.
And then there are some properties that are in the urban renewal district and others that are not, and so there may be other advantages.
I just know that I will hear from people who'll say, wait a minute, I've got land, how come I'm not getting these? And so I just want to be able to say, you could. Just tell us. That's it.
Anything else? Thank you both very much.
We'll be back.
Yeah.
Well. Okay, the next agenda item is resolutions. Do we have any of those? No. And actions, if any, based on executive session or work session? We have none of those. Agency member comments. Would anyone wish to speak?
I would. If I
Okay.
could, please, Madam Chair. Just thank you to Allison and all those involved. It's been a long struggle to get these moving from, not a long struggle, a little time getting this moved forward, and I'm really excited that we're at this point, so thank you very much. And thanks to council and the URA for moving this forward.
Anyone else? Okay, the meeting's adjourned.
Yeah, thanks for the help. Good job.
I had flashbacks my first meeting when I was working in a classroom for years, and the teacher always handled things. And then one day she was gone. And I said, can you handle it? And I've been hearing this lady say the same thing over and over for a year. And it's like,
Anyway, yeah, just give me some language.
By the way, are we still on record or still?
We're adjourned.
I turned them down.
So I emailed the council earlier today about public recreational facility license.
Allison?
Surprise.
This is just something that came in, it went to Jeannie.
Right.
Do you like that?
Parks, and she used my box.
Sorry I didn't get it to you
Today.
earlier.